Mame fa say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
The CEO, but all the heads of departments and senior doctors who called for the minister's apology should be held accountable and potentially fired. Thank you. Alasan is also watching us from Nyohini South. In a democratic society governed by the rule of law, no one, not even the Chief Justice, is above accountability. The idea that a prima facie case shouldn't even be considered simply because of a position, as some in the NPP are suggesting, is deeply flawed. Thank you, Mr. President, for your bold and principled leadership. Your decision to suspend the Chief Justice is in line with the advice of the Council of State and is a clear demonstration of your commitment to the Constitution and to the rule of law. At long last, the battle has ended. Ghana, our judiciary system, is free forever. Samuel Ansre says, NDC last held a presser. Sami Jemfi has been elevated and doesn't have time for presser. There must be a communication team to explain their positions on salient issues, and as a team, Sami can't and is now unable to function effectively as a communication couple. Johnny Kujo says, good morning to you, KOD. Are the NPP party telling us now the CJ belongs to their party? Okay, so these are the messages you've sent to me on Facebook. Let me read a few WhatsApp messages, and then we will go to Mr. Pratt on this subject matter. KOD, good morning. It's a shame. Great submission by Honorable Inusa Fuseni. The Constitution is clear, and those jumping on rooftops are just being mischievous. The president even gave her 10 days to respond. You see, from Accra. Good morning to you, comrades and patriots of Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. Nana's People's Party members should stop their big grammar and noise and point out to the good people of Ghana the constitutional provisions violated by the president on the CJ's suspension. They should go to court and challenge the process if they think they have a case. After all, the courts are packed by their judges. They should give us a break. They are acting as if the CJ is an NPP appointee. What is this? The EC lady is next to go. It is finished. Ayi Justice from Navrungo sent in this one. Greetings to all your panels. Sir, you're welcome back. We're enjoying your show this morning. I'm Jackson from Accra. Please check on the NSS CEO for us. Many schools can't access the website for the national service posting. My son told me the deadline is this month, but they are asking for money before we access the website. Please help us talk to them. We don't want ghost names again. Let's prevent corruption, please. Justice Appiah, please facilitate this. Speak to the CEO and let us hear what he has to say on this matter. Good morning to you, KOD. TTH don't talk about the behavior of the staff. I have a personal experience when I visited them. Evans sends this one. Thank you, Evans, for your message. Alaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, good morning to you, my brother. In my humble opinion, that the Minister of Health and Suhini owe nobody any apology. The minister did what he did in the interest of the good people of Tamale. The minister did not just go up to Tamale. It was because of the suffering and bad treatment of the people of Tamale. Ghana Medical Association should give us a break. All right, the message is quite lengthy. I'm sorry I can't read it all. Good morning to you, KOD and our revered Honorable Inus Afuseni. I must admit that the way and manner Lawyer Afuseni always elicits on any topic of discussion is super. I believe most Ghanaians are very happy that finally the women organizers is suspended as confirmed by the research of Musa Dankwake. The president would have been doing more harm to Ghanaians if he hadn't acted upon these petitions. I still wonder a Chief Justice that would superintend over a matter that Ghana card can show one's nationality, but birth certificates can't. Suglo K. Ibrahim Loho, Nadoli Kalio. And good morning to you, Kwame. Please get Honorable Nisa Fuseni to inform Loretta Lamte was Shraj boss, not NCC.
Okay.
Sebastian sent in this one. Good morning to you, lawyer KOD. The NPP leadership and its disciples are just Western bootlickers. What has the CJ issues got to do with the Western world for the NPP party to be calling on them? I think the CJ is a Supreme Court judge that knows the laws and her rights quite better than most of them. Why are they struggling to fight for her when she has the arms to fight for herself? I smell a big rat in the NPP kitchen. Bibi from Musuku, Kwabenya. Mr. Pratt, let me come to you and then I will continue with the message, please.
Well, yesterday I read a very strange petition by a group of women who claimed that they are Christians. And their petition was to ask for stopping the process of investigating allegations against the Chief Justice and her possible impeachment. Now, the basis of their petition was that the Chief Justice is a woman and a Christian, and therefore she should not be removed from office. And I was wondering, the name which came to my mind immediately was the name of Charlotte Osei. And I think it's important to remind the petitioners that Madame Charlotte Osei was not a priest of the Akunedi shrine. She too was a Christian. It's important also to remind them that she is a woman, and also that Loretta, the woman who was removed from shrine, was not a Buddhist. And beyond that, she was also a woman. I mean, what is this crass? Anyway, what is this? That she should not be removed because she's a woman and a Christian. Where is that coming from? What law says that when Christians infract, the law, they should be left free and so on? I mean, very strange. But you see, it did not end there. One of the persons that I grew up respecting a lot, Mr. Sami Okudzeto, one of the most distinguished lawyers of our time. And when I was growing up, she was the leader of the NAL, the National Alliance of Liberals, which was in opposition to the Progress Party. And indeed, all of us came to respect him a lot because of his principled stand against the Buzia administration and so on. And yesterday, he made a statement which was most shocking. The statement he made was that having been suspended, there was no way the Chief Justice could come back to office. And I was wondering, which law says that? Which provision in the Constitution says that? Suspension is not the equivalent of dismissal. In fact, suspension means that if she is exonerated, she will come back to office. That's what suspension means. So I was just wondering how Mr. Sami Okudzeto, distinguished legal practitioner, one of the most senior lawyers in Ghana today, could come to such a conclusion. How did he come to this conclusion? Unbelievable. Now, there's something else that I want to emphasize, and it's simply this. This morning, all kinds of things are being published, and the claim is that they are the petitions on the basis of which the matter was referred to the Council of State. We cannot accept what we are seeing in the papers as petitions. There's no way of verifying that, and we cannot accept them now as the petitions. They may well be, but there's no basis for accepting them as a petition as at now. That's an important part of the equation. And it's also to do with what is claimed to be the Chief Justice's response to the petition, I think they should be dismissed as they are. So, now, for those who are crying all over the place and so on, I want them to show me one law, one constitutional provision which has been breached by the president. One, just one. Clearly, they talk about this will be a bad precedent and so on and so on. How is it legal? What in the Constitution says that anything which has been done so far is unconstitutional? What in the laws of Ghana says that anything which has been done so far is illegal? So, until they are able to do that, I think it's important for them to keep quiet and stop the noise making. You see, the Chief Justice has not helped herself at all in this matter. One, by leaking some information, about this process, she has done herself some damage. The framers of the Constitution decided that all of this should be held in secret, in camera, and so on, in order to protect the image and reputation of the Chief Justice, especially when at the end of the process she's found innocent. So she can come back, sit on the bench, and continue to act as Chief Justice without reputational damage. And I think she should have respected this position. The moment she leaked aspects of the correspondent and so on, she opened the door. Because the petition against Charlotte Osei, as we sit here, nobody knows who the petitioners were. It was never disclosed. It was done in confidence. You understand? The processes were done in camera and so on. But this Chief Justice, because of her own conduct, opened the doorway, and now things are flying around and so on. And no matter what happens, even if she's found innocent in the process, she's likely to suffer some reputational damage. You understand? It may well be, as it is claimed, that this allegation, I'm not saying that the allegation is true, that she traveled with a daughter, she traveled with a husband, and some per diem was paid and so on, may well be that it fitted into her conditions of service. But you see, people are asking questions. People are saying, why should anybody working in Ghana under Ghanaian conditions and for the Ghanaian people be given a vacation abroad? I mean, why would you employ anybody, Chief Justice, President, whatever, Minister, and in their conditions of service, you say that they're entitled to vacation abroad. They can travel abroad to enjoy their holidays, especially at the expense of the taxpayer and so on. So, you see, this leakage is causing some damage. And I'm very uncomfortable about that. Because it is just possible that at the end of the day, she may be found innocent, and because she will be found innocent, she may have to return to her position. Yes. But all these things will be hanging on her neck and so on. So I'm worried about that. Now, the other thing I'm worried about is that, and there's no law, which prescribes how people should select their lawyers when they have cases to answer. There's no law which prescribes that. And indeed, I think that all lawyers, if they are faithful to their calling, will do a good job regardless of their political coloring and so on. But then there's this thing called public perception. And public perception is not grounded in law. Public perception has to do with our inherent biases and so on. You understand? So if you have a situation where a Chief Justice is in this situation, And it does appear that her entire legal team is made up of persons from a particular party. That is damaging. In fact, that may tend to reinforce the public perception that there is a political case between the NDC and the NPP, and the aesthetics are not good. It doesn't help the sitting Chief Justice. And I think that she would have known much better. I was expecting her to have known much better. Now, it gets worse when a whole political party jumps into the vanguard of her defense. You know, it's strange. Now, there's another aspect which for me is troubling. I've been talking about it, you know, it's exceedingly troubling. Some people have already started jumping the gun. And what are they doing? They're saying, oh, if this succeed, then maybe there'll be a petition against the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and that will also succeed. Why not? Why not? If it is established that her conduct amounts to stated misbehavior, misconduct, and incompetence, and so on, and she goes away, she's removed through a constitutional process, what should stop the Council of State, the President, and relevant institutions from removing the Electoral Commission if she's also found to be incompetent and to have engaged in stated misbehavior? What should stop that? Kwame, what should stop that? My brother, what should stop that?
Well,
why should we even think of that?
That's my question. What should we think of that?
If the chairperson of the Electoral Commission or any member of the Electoral Commission has behaved in such a manner as to qualify for impeachment, so be it. If the president has behaved in any manner to qualify for impeachment, so be it. So it doesn't matter the number of people who will be affected. There are so many people who can be impeached, you know, on the basis of stated misconduct. Yeah. None of them should become insulated from the process simply because the Chief Justice has fallen. So that argument doesn't make any sense at all. And I think we should drop it. So far, it seems to me that the president has carried out his constitutional duty. What he has done is an injunction by the Constitution and the laws of Ghana. Indeed, if the president did not act in the manner in which he has acted, we ought to take him on for dereliction of duty. You understand? So the president is only doing what we elected him to do. Look, I am opposed to the death sentence. Because, for example, we know that many people were on death row and eventually, some people were actually executed and eventually we found them innocent. So once you execute people, you cannot bring them back to life. And that is why we ought to be very, very cautious about carrying out the death sentence and so on. But you see, one of the duties of a president is to sign warrants for killing people. In Ghana, you cannot have a president who is squeamish, who doesn't want to kill. Because one of his duties is that when the state decides that somebody must be killed, he has to approve it. So everybody you elect as a president must have the instinct, the knack to kill. It's his duty. You understand? It's a very unpleasant duty. But if you want to be president of Ghana, you should be somebody who can take a pen and sign for somebody to be killed, to be shot, to be hanged, and so on. It's not a very pleasant duty, is it? So presidents have duties imposed on them which are not which are not pretty, which are not elevating, and so on. But they have to act as presidents. And that is the position in which President John Dramani Mahama finds himself. It is possible that President John Dramani Mahama really admires this Chief Justice. It is possible.
It's possible, yes.
It is possible that John Dramani Mahama, in his quite sober moments and so on, thinks that this is a very beautiful, honest, hard-working woman.
Yeah.
But the Constitution says that he must act in this way. He cannot refuse to act in this way. The Constitution insists that he must report these matters to the Council of State. And then when the Council of State establishes a prima facie case, he has to set up a 5-member committee to go into the matter. When the 5-member committee decides, oh my goodness, that the Chief Justice fell foul of the law, that she was engaged in misconduct, and she was incompetent, President Mahama has no choice but to sack her. This is the Constitution. This is the duties we elected him to perform. And I think he should be allowed to perform his duties. Finish.
Merci beaucoup, Mr. Pratt. Let me read a few
You see why I say that this one
Constitutional lecturer. Constitutional law lecturer.
Guest lecturer.
Absolutely. Good morning to you, Kwame. The removal of CJ is lawful, just as it was with Charlotte Osei. It shows that no one is above the law. The unanimous FC has done so much harm to the state under NPP. They outlawed our birth certificates to help NPP try to or attempt to rig elections. They aided Akufo-Addo to vandalize embassies, bungalows, ministry schools, and passport offices in favor of a cathedral. They also helped EC to disenfranchise people, the people of SAL, in 2020. In Aflao, they closed down the courts and birth and death registry during the EC registration to stop people from.
To be honest with you,
Okay, the last part is not quite clear.
To be honest with you, I've not seen the petitions.
Yeah.
But if any of the petitions contain the SAR, I don't see how EC can escape incompetence.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can escape incompetence. I've not seen the petitions.
Okay. Good morning, KOD. In Ghana, we have all the resources except leadership resources.
Yeah.
This one also says, good morning to you once again. Okay, I think I've read this message already. Good morning to you, KOD. What is happening in TTH has started a long time ago. Please let Honorable Inusa listen to the report in the video and explain it to you. It is in our language. Okay, from Naros, from Savelugu. Narus. Okay, Savelugu. KOD, why is NPP in this pell-mell dash about the suspension of the CJ? There must be rats in the house. NDC more action. She's a goner. Morris Weko Pomtonwa from Way Aloga. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Forgive me. This one is simply a video. I don't know whether it has to do with the TTH matter. Good morning, KOD. In fact, I was totally disappointed in you when you started talking like Akufo-Addo to the Honorable Minister of Health, who was rather fighting for our good health. Okay, all right. Thank you. What's his name? KOD from George in Ablekuma. Thank you, George, for your message this morning. This one says from Kuchonkumas, please, I've known Mahama more than 40 years. I know him to be a very honest and dedicated person. This one also says, those agitating against the removal of the CJ should forget it. It is an agenda to remove the CJ and put their own, so that those MPP appointees who will be sent to court can be thrown into jail. Joe from Bolga sent in this one. This one also says, are you using... Oh, my friend. Good morning to you, KOD and your panelists. Please, do you know why the MPP is defending the CJ? It is because they know that most of them may be sent to the Supreme Court for the oral, and the CJ will protect them from being thrown into jail. Charles from Japan sent in this one. Hey, people get theory, so. Good morning to you, sir, KOD. I'm Max from Adan. Please, inform the health minister to visit Adan East District Hospital. The services provided over there are nothing to write home about. People in Adan have to leave the district hospital and go to Sagapope to seek better health care because they don't feel safe going there. Please, Ada is bleeding. I recall back in the day when I was living in Tema, people had same reservations about the Tema General Hospital. Hi KOD, it's always heartwarming listening to lawyer Enos of saying his depth of knowledge in our laws or constitution is mind blowing. If he's not lecturing already, I plead to consider doing so. Yusuf Mahama from Accra sent in this one. This might get time. You don't get time. Kwame Esquire, I'm always very impressed when Comrade Kwesi and Alaji are on your show. I want to appeal to all youth of beloved Ghana to advocate for Senior Pratt as the next EC chair. The next EC chair of our republic. Oh, but I mean, you know, it's not a bad call. It's not a bad call. Ghanaians are far advanced with double standard deviation of NPP. Was a CJ for Ghanaians or for a political party? She should pack. Okay, the last part is not quite clear. Please bring back Elvis Butter to the Thursday Good Morning Africa program. I love the gentleman's submissions. All right, we'll bring him back. He's lecturing, so now you don't get time. Oh. Good morning, KOD. As for TTH, let us not talk about them. If I tell you my experience in that hospital, you'll be saddened. George in Debugri from Wa. And this one also says, good morning to you, KOD. So GMA was formed after December 2024, right? Have you heard of this group the past 8 years? Herbalists are still in the system. With them, we still hold funerals. Zico from Garu. I didn't get the last part clearly, but I think I have communicated what you wanted to. Good morning to you, KOD. This is Togbe Buton Nyaji II from Ho. Interesting discussions. The fact is that through the media, voices have been very loud for owning our natural resources and processing our raw materials. That's independence and development of Ghana. All right, thank you very much. Well, that note, thank you, Mr. Pratt. Thank you, Honorable Disassociates, and thank you for watching.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal le Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.